Hey there everyone, this is Carrie with Anyday Blessings, and today I am going to do somewhat of a follow-up to a video I did previously about language lessons for living education level 3. And the reason I'm doing this video is mainly just to help you all get started. I've seen several posts and questions both on my YouTube channel and in different Facebook groups about getting started, like what kind of prep work do you do? How can you use this independently with a child or have the child be independent and start to be a self-directed learner? So that was one of our goals, and so I thought I would share with you what we have done in the way of prep work to prepare both mom and student for that kind of transition to independent learning. Now, first of all, I will say I don't believe you could do this with every course. I think this course is unique in that it is written to the student. It has a very predictable schedule that it follows with the same types of lessons occurring on each day of the lesson week. And so I think that there are several key components to this course, several features that make this course very feasible to do independently as a child, as a student. So I don't think you could do this with every course, at least at the beginning when you're kind of starting to develop an independent learner. But I mean, this is it. This one book is the entire course. You don't need, your child wouldn't have to grab 6 or 7 books to be able to do one lesson. And some of the courses that we tried before this, that was the case. I just felt like my son would have to be grabbing so many different things, and just gathering what he needed would be a challenge, let alone doing the assignment. So I love that everything is in one book, and I'm able to even try and have my son do things independently. But there was some prep work that I had to do, and that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. The first thing I did was I removed the answer key in the back because my son discovered it. He saw that it was a Masterbooks. He saw this little logo here, and he's familiar with Masterbooks, and he says, "They just make good books, Mom. I'm excited to use this." And so he started flipping through, and he's used to having fun little charts and different things in the back of the book. And so he's looking back there, and lo and behold, he found the answer key. And so I had to remove that just so that it wasn't a temptation for him to look ahead and look back there. So that is gone. And also I removed at the beginning the schedule because we are not following the schedule as written. I love that Masterbooks provides that. I think it's such a help to homeschoolers. However, we school 4 days a week and have a light day in the middle. So we're only using this 3 or 4 days a week. We're not using this in a 5-day schedule. So I didn't want that to be confusing either if my son were to come to that and just do the next thing on the list and it not line up with where we are. So I removed that as well. But I did leave all the lessons in here. I don't pull them out by week or anything like that because, again, I really do love the fact that this is all together in one book. So I have chosen to just leave it that way so that my son just knows he has to get out one thing to do his language lesson. Okay, so then the next thing I did was I purchased just at the dollar store an assignment book for my son. And you could easily just use a notebook. I've seen several really good videos out there about the spiral notebook method for giving your kids assignments. You could do that. I chose to get an assignment book with dates and everything on it to kind of help him keep track of where he was and help me keep track of where we are. And all I do on Sunday afternoons is I sit down with the book and start to look through the week's assignments and determine which ones I feel like he could just sit down and do. So for example, I knew that we had covered nouns previously, so when I saw this lesson on nouns, I went ahead and wrote down page 31 in his assignment book for a particular day, and he was able to read the instructions at the top and complete this completely independently. So when it came time for us to do language arts, when that came on our little checklist for the day, I said, okay, bring me your language book, let's see how you did. I simply went over this, saw that he got everything correct, made sure that he could tell me what the lesson was about, and language arts was done for the day. I did no teaching. All I did was look over the assignment with him. He did this completely on his own. Now, in contrast to that, a different day, let's go to lesson 3, I think it was, yes. This is a lesson on pronouns. Now, I had scheduled this in his assignment notebook, I wrote this page down. It's page 39, and I wrote down do page 39, and I think 42. I think it's a 2-page assignment. And he did, and he went through it, and then when language arts time came, he brought me his book and showed me what he did, and he struggled. He did not actually complete this successfully, and he got confused. I could see partway through the assignment, he got confused between pronouns and proper nouns. So this was a time where I actually had to do some teaching, and I went over this again, and we corrected the whole page. And then I also went to the back here to these little teacher help pages, these little teacher aids, and I went over a pronoun and the rule for a pronoun again with him. So it's not, going to be 100% self-directed. I mean, you still are going to be offering instruction and correction to your child, especially when they're just starting out, learning to learn independently, and that it is a skill. It's a muscle you have to develop. So I fully do not expect at all to just hand this to my son and say, go for it. Mainly because there are some lessons in here that are intended to do together with your child. So the first day of each lesson is some sort of interaction between you and your child, whether it's co-reading or it's picture study together or poetry study together. It's meant to be done with your child. It's meant to be a discussion between the two of you. You can't really just put that in an assignment book and hand it to your child. So I know there's going to be those. I know there's going to be those lessons that are intended for me to teach to him and interact with him. And that's great. I'm glad that those are part of this, because I don't really want to be completely removed anyway. But I do want to start exercising those muscles of independence. I do want to start making him responsible to get assignments done and to read the directions and figure out his assignment on his own. Now, the way that we have chosen to do it is we put several things. We put the language lessons assignment, handwriting, and math facts, and piano lessons. And every now and again, I'll throw in something else that may come up that I think he can do on his own. But for the most part, those are the main 3 or 4 things that we put in that assignment book. So it's not all of his assignments. It's just the things that I feel like he can do independently. So what I'm able to do is tell him where that book is, and every day he knows right where it is, and he just goes to it, and he intersperses a thing out of his assignment book with one of his chores. And he knows he can go make his bed and then come do one of his assignment book assignments, and then he can go feed the dog and let the dog outside, and then he can come back and do something else out of his assignment book. And that's the little routine we have set up. And this course, I'm thrilled that this course really is fitting in well with that. Sorry about the dog. I think the mailman's here. But I'm glad that this course is written the way that it is, because it really allows me to put something else in there that's of academic content that is really allowing me to develop that independence skill. So I don't really check it, right after he's done, or I don't check up on him to make sure he's got all of those things done. What happens is, like, okay, for example, this is in there, the language lessons assignment is in there, the math facts assignment is in there, and piano practice is in there. Those are 3 things that I often put in there. And when language arts time comes up, I'll say, okay, buddy, it's time for language arts. Grab your book. And if he's done an assignment that day, if there was an independent assignment that I gave him, then he'll just show it to me, and I'll check it and ask him, if he can tell me what he learned. And it's all of 5 minutes. My interaction with the assignment that day is all of 5 minutes, and we're done. So let me just check that off the list. So that's when I check and see if he has done what he should have done. So it will kind of come up. It will his work will show itself, throughout the day. But I don't kind of stand over him and say, okay, now do this next assignment. Now do this next assignment, because I am trying to exercise those independence muscles, those responsibility muscles. So it will prove itself whether he's done the work. It will show itself when we come to those different subjects throughout the day. Because when we get to the math lesson, I'll say, okay, did you do your math facts? And he'll show me his mental math sheet, and then we'll move on to the math lesson. So that's just another little thing that we do. I have to hold back on that and not remind him to do his independent work, because it's not independent if mama's standing over you the whole time, directing it. So that's what we have done to turn this into a semi-independent course for my son. I think by the time you get up to level 4 or 5, definitely 6, you could probably just hand this to your child and just check in and grade work. But even starting as early as this level 3, we wanted to start to develop that independence in his learning. So I hope this was helpful to you on ways that you could get started with this course, things that you could do to maybe take off a little teaching time on your part and encourage some life skills development in your kiddo. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.